Are you ready to strike up the band, buckle the chin straps, put on the pads, put in those hot dogs in the boiling water? It's another high school football season in Western Pennsylvania. Gets underway this Friday. And guess what? We have something new to celebrate high school sports in Western Pennsylvania this year. It is the Post-Gazette High School Show here on the Post-Gazette WPIAL channel. I'm Mike White of the Post-Gazette. He's Keith Barnes of the Post-Gazette. We'll come at you every week with our Post-Gazette High School Show here on the Post-Gazette channel. We will have the hot topics, what we're talking about around the WPIAL and the City League. We'll have players to watch. Keith, what else will we have?
We'll have shining stars, those top players. We'll have some predictions. We're going to do a top 6 every week where we pick the top 6 games in the WPIAL, and we're going to get picks. So you can sit there and critique us all you want for our good choices and our bad choices. Hey, and we're going to do a fantasy football league. Mike and I are going to pick a fantasy football team every week with a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, and a kicker. So it's going to be interesting. So look out for your name to be called. And, of course, we might even have a few surprise guests along the line. That's right. We might have some call-ins. We might have some live chat. So it's going to be a really interesting year for us to take off and show you what we can do here.
We'll be here every week in different segments to go on the Post-Gazette High School Show. So subscribe to us on YouTube. We're on Spotify. Share it, like us, get us going here. It's a new thing, and we're excited about it. So how about – let's go, Keith. First segment. Are you ready?
Great. I'm ready to put my pads back on. Let's go.
You don't look very good in pads. You don't look very good in pads. First segment, talking about. What are we talking about around Western Pennsylvania high school sports?
Well, it's the first week of the season. How about people we think might be the player of the year this year? It's going to be interesting. Bradley Gompers from Central Catholic was a dark horse chance last year, and he was our player of the year. But this year coming in, everybody's looking at one player and one player only. Matt Sieg of Fort Cherry, and with good reason. I mean, he is the gold standard right now. He's about to break the WPIAL all-time touchdown record, the all-time WPIAL total offense record. So he's the guy to beat. But there's quite a few players out there who are going to challenge as he goes along. Mike, who do you see?
All right. Let's do this. This is our picks preseason for player of the year, like the Heisman of the WPIAL and City League, right? Okay, right. So we're going to give one. And by the way, this is our first segment, and we're going to talk about here in this Talking About segment, we're going to talk about transfers, which is a very hot topic right now, especially with what's going on so stay tuned for that. And we're also going to talk about who in the WPIAL or city might have a chance of winning a state championship this year, because we didn't win any last year in the WPIAL. But okay, player of the year. Here we go, Keith. Now, we both agree that Matt Sieg's a favorite coming into the year, right?
Absolutely.
You're going to say it. I'm going to say it. He should, just with the numbers he's going to put up, and numbers he already has. But, sometimes things happen. Someone comes up, and you look at last year, what happened? Bradley Gompers, the player of the year. So, all right, we're each going to take two guys besides Matt Sieg that might be player of the year. You go first.
All right. For me, number one is going to be Kemon Spell from McKeesport. He had a breakout year as a sophomore last year. He's a Penn State recruit. He's still taking visits, which I find that to be very interesting. When I talked to him, he said, yeah, I'm going to take all the visits I can. I'm going to take advantage of this all I can, but I'm a Penn State guy. I'm going to Penn State. 1,600 yards as a sophomore last year with a team that may win the WPIAL championship for the first time since 2005. He is a stud player.
They got a lot of competition for that.
Yeah, but as far as recruiting goes, when's the last time the WPIAL had the number one running back in the country in his graduating class? I can't remember.
That's one recruiting services ranked him that. I don't think we've ever had that. I would go back to, I remember this, Brian Davis from Washington High School in the 1984 season. Back then, there weren't all these websites and all these recruiting sites, but there was a scouting service, and I actually did some work for Dick LaSalle. He pulled every college that he could in the country because he sold stuff to colleges. And who was the number one player in the country? Brian Davis from Wash High was ranked the number one player from the colleges from Dick LaSalle Scouting Evaluation Association. Go back to 1984. And he was the Parade Magazine National Player of the Year that year. So probably since Kemon Spell's highest rated recruit we've had since Terrell Pryor. Put it that way. You know, here's the thing though with Kemon Spell, and this is not a knock against him, not a knock against Matt Miller. Will he get enough carries though, Keith, to really ring up those big stats that kind of get you into that Player of the Year nomination process? What he carry the ball last year? 11 times a game, maybe 11. You know, when they run that flex
he
spell,
averaged 11 yards a carry last year.
I know,
so
but is he going to? You know, and I'm not saying he's not good and not worthy. But is he going to be able to ring up those big stats? Because in that offense, they usually don't have a guy carry the ball 20 times. So I don't know. That's about him. All right, my other guy for Player of the Year, I'm going to go Jay Timmons. Lawrence is his name, real name, but everybody knows him as Jay, from Pine-Richland High School, committed to Florida State, originally committed to Indiana, going to Florida State. He's a two-way standout, but Spell plays defense too. I think he proved himself. He's going to college as a defensive back, but he's a very, very good receiver. And you know, if Khalil Taylor is there, the transfer from Seton LaSalle, that's another weapon. And you're not going to see teams being able to double team Jay Timmons, I don't think. I think he's going to have, and he's got a quarterback to throw on the ball.
You got to wonder how good of a season Ubi Strader is going to have a quarterback. Because
that's what I said. He's got a quarterback to throw the
ball. So, you know, that's tough too when you got a player like that who has to rely on somebody else for his success. Now, granted, Jay's going to do his on defense, but as far as the offense goes, you know, if Strader gets hurt, because he did get hurt last year, that's going to hurt. That's going to have an impact on his numbers.
Yeah, if anybody gets hurt, it's going to be a problem. But I'm going to go Jay Timmons. Okay, next in line. Who do you say next? Maybe a sleeper could be Player of the Year.
I'm going to go with Nolan DeLucia from Peters Township. You know, you can say he's a quarterback from a team in Class 5. He's already got a WPIAL championship under his belt as a sophomore. He went to the final last year, lost to Pine-Richland, which is a sticking point with him after talking to him. But he's led Class 5A in regular season passing each of the last 2 years, and he plays for that TJ Plack offense, and he's going to be featured. This is a guy who has a little bit to prove because of the fact that they did lose last year. And the other thing about him is he's a long snapper.
And he plays defense. He plays defense a little bit. He plays defense a little bit, but he's a long snapper. I mean, you got to give him props for that. He's got to get a couple extra points for that one as well.
Who's your sleeper?
Well, don't forget Nolan's going to Penn. Sleeper, I'm going to say, you know, I'm going to look at a defensive player, and I think for defensive players, you have to look at maybe Central Catholic. And I'm talking Ashton Blatt and Colson Gatton. Ashton Blatt, defensive end, 6'4", 230. Nobody knew about him going into last year. He was a quarterback, missed most of his sophomore year with an injury, blew up last year after a great season, recruited by all these players. He's going to play for Bill Belichick down at the University of North Carolina. I think he could have a really big year simply because they have so many players on that defense. And then I think you got to look at Colson Gatton. I'm not saying these guys are going to be Player of the Year, but sometimes a defensive player creeps up and does a lot to make an impact and say, hey, look at me. You know, I said Bradley Gompers. I thought he was very good last year. I don't think anybody going into the year thought he could be Player of the Year. And look what he did, Player of the Year.
Well, if you want to look at a defensive player who might have an impact, how about Brandon Murphy from Clairton? Yeah.
Oh, there you go with your Clairton guys.
You know what? Hey, I'm a Valley guy. That's where I got to go. But, you know, Brandon Murphy from Clairton had a great freshman year last year. He's getting more and more Division I looks. He's a solid defensive player for a team that had 10 shutouts last year.
He's only a sophomore.
I know he's only a sophomore.
And I'm not saying he's
Player of the Year.
I'm not saying he's not good, but he will not get enough. He'll play offense this year, but I don't see him maybe getting enough big things offensively to be Player there. And he's only to be Player there as a sophomore, Keith. Man, you've got to be
good.
You've got to be one of the best ever in the WPIAL. Come on.
I'd agree.
All right.
Hey, you said a dark horse on defense. I'm throwing a name out.
Okay. You. All right. Let's move on to the next subject. We're going to talk about. Well, no, we're going to talk about that last in this segment.
Oh, okay.
Next subject is we got to have people, and I have a lot of thoughts on it, but anyway. All right. Next subject is last year, the WPIAL or City League did not win one state championship. And that was a long time since that happened. And we got 6 classes now. Who, in your mind, maybe not even a team, what classification might have the best chance to win a state championship this year?
Class 1A. I don't think there's any doubt, and I think it's going to be Clairton. I really do. I think they were so close to winning the WPIAL last year, and if their quarterback hadn't gotten hurt for that Fort Cherry game, I think they win the WPIAL title last year, and I think they go on to win the state title last year. You don't beat that defense the way they play. It is so good, and I don't see them not winning the WPIAL this year, and I think they're the best chance the WPIAL has of winning a state title this year, flat out.
I would also say Class A. Bishop Guilfoyle was a champ last year. They are good again. I don't think they're going to be overwhelming. I mean, they rolled to the championship last year. They destroyed Westinghouse. And don't overlook Dante Grates, Westinghouse Bulldogs, with a new quarterback from West Mifflin, and Josiah Collins, and they've got other players, and they could do some damage in single A. But you look at the other classes, and I wrote about this in the state rankings. The defending champs all look really strong again. St. Joe's Prep. They got Marvin Harris's other son appropriately named Jet. That was my nickname when I was younger, Jet. And then you've got, they won a championship last year. They're going to be the favorite to win it again. Mm-hmm. Although I think Central Catholic has a decent chance. But Harrisburg's really good again. They lost to Central in the semifinals last year. And then 5A, you've got Bishop McDevitt again. And they've got a lot of people back and a transfer in that's really good. They've got some of the better players in the state, big time recruits. 4A is very good again also. Roman Catholic was up there. So the teams that won it last year are very good again. I think WPIAL's, I could see teams getting there, but at the most they will win 2 at the most. And I think
who's your other one? Who's the other one you see?
Boy, I think 3A. I do.
That's where I was going to go.
I don't think 3A around the state is tremendous, and I think that's one of the reasons. I mean, last year Avonworth almost won it. They lose late in the game, and they lose in overtime, and they're going to be good again. Imani Christian's going to be good again. I think 3A just because of there aren't as many strong teams around the state.
I think when you look at the WPIAL and 3A, I think there's 5 teams that have a legitimate shot of winning the WPIAL. And I don't think anybody's getting out of the Western Hills Conference unscathed this year. So it's going to be a dogfight the whole way to win the 3A title. And then when you get into state, you're going to be battle tested. Whoever wins 3A out of the WPIAL is going to be a battle tested team heading up to Cumberland Valley this year. So yeah, I agree with you. That's going to be the other one. And I thought that perhaps the WPIAL might win a title win.
All right, let's move on. Third subject in talking about. We're talking about transfers. A long subject that has been talked about for a long time, but has really come to the forefront again because of the Khalil Taylor going from Seton LaSalle to Pine-Richland. The Anthony Smith
going
situation.
From Southmoreland to Seton LaSalle.
Southmoreland to Seton LaSalle being ruled ineligible by the WPIAL, held up by the PIAA. Now he's going to court. You'll be there this week at the court hearing.
I'll be there on Thursday.
And a lot of times the PIAA doesn't hold up the WPIAL, but they did this time. So there's a lot of talk about this, Keith. And this is a subject, that has many tentacles to it. And there are people calling, fans, even a lot of fans, people saying they should have a rule, just open it up. You can transfer wherever you want. Please stop with that. There are 10 states right now that either have or are considering having you get a one-time transfer. And like West Virginia, you don't even have to move to get that transfer. You don't even have to move.
Wow.
But I have a few thoughts. I have a number of thoughts, but
yes,
I don't want to get bogged down just the Anthony Smith situation going for Southmoreland to Seton LaSalle, but it's a subject that has many opinions. What is your feeling? Should there be a new rule? Do you like the rules now? What's this whole ball of wax?
At this point,
and I'm going to go after you.
At this point in time, when you look at it, there's a competitive balance issue. And when you start getting to the point where, and I'm saying this as a, for example, North Allegheny decides they want to be IMG Academy, or Pine-Richland decides it wants to be just like those Florida Academy teams, and just start bringing these players in and saying, hey, we can pay your sponsorships and we can bring you in. What does that do to the competitive balance around the entire WPIAL? At that point in time, all you're becoming is a super league. And it becomes not about academics and student athletes. It becomes about finances and money.
I got to interrupt you. That can't happen.
I know.
No, because those are public schools. They can't suddenly become a private school. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, that was an example, and I was just throwing that out there. But it's, you're going to say, okay, why don't you come and move to our district, and we'll pay for your house. I mean, that's where the money.
Yes.
You're talking about money. This is all coming down to money at this point in time, and there's a lot of money going to be coming into high school sports over the next few years because of NIL and things like that, and the colleges are going to help pour it in.
It's not going to come into high school sports. It'll come into college. I mean, the top players around here, they're not getting NIL money, and they're not getting while they're in high school. They're getting it when they go to college. So I think that's a fallacy somewhat of NIL money. Like I can only speak for Pennsylvania. That is, there aren't kids around here getting a bunch of money while they're in high school. Now it's going to change. They're going to get a bunch of money when they go to college. That's going to change. But so, well, what should the rule be? Do you think there should be a change in the rule? And then I'm going to talk.
I don't. I like the rule the way it is. You get a 1-year penalty if you transfer. I mean, I think it's fair. If
no, that's not
transfer, and there's athletic intent involved.
Yes,
then you should have to suffer. You should have to pay the penalty and not play for a year. If there's a parents divorce and the parents split off and the kid ends up going with the mother or the father to a different district, then those are considerations that have to come into play. But just because you just, or if you decide to up and move and find a nicer house, that's fine too. But if it's just for athletic intent, or if there's athletic intent involved, I think the 1-year suspension is a good thing.
Well, I'm here to educate people a little bit and also to get on people, okay? Because there are so many fallacies out there about the transfers, and there are so many tentacles I can't go on. But I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. Let me read this to you in the preamble for the transfer from the PIAA Constitution and Bylaws. The purpose of this article is to deter transfers and or recruiting which are material motivated in some way by an athletic purpose. You go on. Students who make decisions as to what school to attend based upon factors relating to athletics defeat this objective. Further, such decisions are detrimental to efforts to maintain competitive integrity and equity, to prevent athletic recruiting, and to instill school loyalty. PIAA recognizes the difficulty in preventing transfers, which are materially motivated in some way by an athletic purpose. Experience has shown that students can often disguise athletically motivated transfers, and in almost every situation show at least some athletic intent. Now, here we go. This transfer subject been going on for ages. I've seen articles back decades ago. Kids being ruled ineligible, transferring athletic intent. Are there inconsistencies in the rulings from the PIAA and WPIAL? By all means, yes. And that's one of the big problems. Big problem is different parts of the state enforce the rules differently. PIAA has rules. They don't always really enforce them. Okay. But a few things I want to bring up. Number one, do people know that almost all transfers in the WPIAL are eligible at the school they go to? Almost all of them. I hear this. Oh, they roll all these kids out ineligible. No, they don't. Here's an example. In July, they had 33 eligibility cases of transfers. They were all ruled eligible. That day, they had 5 hearings, 4 football players, 1 basketball player. They made 1 football player ineligible and 1 basketball player ineligible after the hearings, and they made the 3 other football players eligible. And I can go back and show you. There are months where there are 50 transfers of eligibility at the rule on, and almost every one of them, if not all of them, are ruled eligible. Why are they not ruled eligible sometimes? When one of the schools doesn't sign off on it and say, you know what, we think it was athletically motivated. We have some proof. And here's the other thing. People don't know the rules. I know coaches out there, they don't know the rules. It bothers me so much. Even kids that transfer, coaches, they'll say, well, have you ever read the PIAA rules when you transfer? Have you ever read them? A lot of people haven't. A lot of people, I know schools, they don't know them. Read the dang rules. And you know what? If you're a parent, you know that if you want to transfer, hey, all the power to you. But you know there are rules there, and there's a chance you might be ruled ineligible. If you want to take that chance, that's fine. But there are rules there. And here's the other one that drives me up a wall. It drives me up a wall. There's nobody that should be able to tell you where you can go to school. They shouldn't be allowed to stop you from where you go to school. You can go to school anywhere you want. Nobody's stopping you. If you go Pine-Richland and you want to go to Central Catholic, you can go. Go. If you want to transfer to another public school and your parents move, you can go. Nobody's stopping you. But guess what? When you go somewhere else, there are rules. If you want to go, I don't know, to a school because they have great college CHS classes, I bet you there are some rules to get in those classes. So if you transfer, there are rules like everything else. And sometimes the rules don't apply and you get ruled ineligible. But this thing of you should be allowed to go where you want. You can go to school wherever you want. Stop it. It just bothers the heck out of me. And the other thing, I wanted to bring up, here's the other thing. People don't know. We got this Anthony Smith situation. Keith, you've been in the hearings. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't say that. Not been in the hearings. People don't know in the public what is said in these hearings because the majority of the time they'll close them to the media, and we don't know. So you don't know what evidence is presented, and you say, "How can this kid be ruled ineligible?" Well, you don't know what evidence was presented, and we never know because they aren't allowed to tell us if it's a closed hearing unless we find it out. So how can you make a determination if a kid should be ineligible or eligible? And I'm not saying when they make a kid ineligible, it's wrong. But people don't know because they aren't in those hearings and they don't know what evidence is presented. Those are a few of my rants. Now, lastly, I said to you, there are some states now who you can get one transfer. West Virginia has it. They instituted it in 2023. Guess what? In this year, January 2025, the Athletic Directors Association head representing athletic directors, coaches, went to the state legislature who put in the rule and said, can you please revisit this rule and maybe get rid of it because it is causing bedlam. You think colleges are ridiculous with having all the transfers? Open it up to open transfers. Now, I will tell you, I do believe in my heart that if you physically move, yeah, you should be eligible unless somebody has something. Did the school recruit you? Did the coach recruit you? Did they give you something? But I think if you physically move, you should be eligible. But it doesn't address what the other big problem is, the private parochial charter schools and the advantages they have. So this is a big thing. And I'm sorry, you want to open it up where you can go. Here's the thing in Pennsylvania, and I know I'm going long on this, that people don't realize. I've heard people in Pennsylvania say, you should be allowed to go maybe go to another school without even moving. Well, if you want that, then the whole Pennsylvania education system has to change. Because guess what? You're not allowed to do that now. If you live, Keith, you live wherever you live. If say you live, where do you live? Where do you live?
I live in New Kent.
New Kent. What, Valley? Okay. Yeah. Say you want to go to, I don't know, Fox Chapel. You can't go there unless you move, or nowadays you get your legal guardian. It would have to change the whole system because why? Because you pay taxes in New Kensington. And if you decide, if you still live in New Kensington and you want to go to Fox Chapel, guess what? They can't take you unless you pay tuition. Am I right? Because you pay taxes. Right. They don't want you there if you're not paying taxes in their school system. That's why Pennsylvania is different than West Virginia, I think, and a lot of other places. You got school district taxes. So this thing of, open it up, transfer without moving, please. And ask West Virginia what they think of it right now. Okay, that's my rant.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was our TED Talk with Mike White. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll be back.
That was our first segment. We're going to be back with a lot more, though.
We'll be back for our next segment in a few minutes.
We're going to talk about the big games and the PGFL.
That's right.
On the Post-Gazette High School Show.
Hi, I'm Keith Barnes, the Post-Gazette. I'm back here with Mike White, and we're going to talk a little bit of high school football again. And this time we're going to talk the games of the week. Let's talk about
Keith. We got to talk about what we are, right? We're the Post-Gazette. We're the Post-Gazette High School Show on the new and the soon to become wildly popular, right? The Post-Gazette WPIAL channel on YouTube and podcasts. So remember, if you like what we do here, this is the early stages. We have 100 yards with videos up on our channel. We got some predictions on the season. I can look at every classification. So what we're about to talk about, I know everybody's excited for it. They can't wait. But like us, subscribe to us. We're on Spotify, right? Help us out, share it, and we'll be here all year long.
And if you don't like us, tell everybody, just so that they tell.
And if you don't like us, tough. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Next segment. What are we doing here? We're going our weekly Pick Six segment. 6 of the top games of WPIAL City League. Keith will pick them. I will pick them. We'll keep track during the year who has the best record. And also in this first week, we're going to do Shining Stars every week. But in this first week, since there's no games yet, we're going to do the Post-Gazette Fantasy League in this segment.
That's
Keith
right.
And I will pick different players every week, keep track of their scoring, and who has the best. So they're going to put a lot of pressure on players out there. So if we pick you guys and you're watching, you better come through for me.
And remember one thing. The one rule is we can only pick you once, and only one of us can pick you.
Yes.
So once you're picked, you're out for the rest of the season.
Yes. All right. So pick 6. Ready? Bang.
I'm ready. Go. Let's pick 6.
We got to get a bell or something, a buzzer here to go to the next segment. Here we go.
Here we go.
All right. First game. Go ahead.
I say Central Catholic and LaSalle College. It's going to be at the Wolverina. It's going to be an incredible game. 2 of the top schools in the state. It's going to be an amazing game. Mike, you're going to be there for that. What do you think of that one?
Well, this is the part of the KDKA Kickoff Classic at the Wolverina. 2 games Friday and 3 on Saturday. They've really done a great job of this event, Keith. I'm going to give them kudos first off, KDKA, because they've really got some very good matchups and teams outside the area. I think this game, Central Catholic and LaSalle College, and people say they're not a college, Mike. Well, their name is LaSalle College High School. Okay, I know they're not LaSalle University, and I think this is one of the most interesting and best games in the first half of the season, because you're talking about Central Catholic. We have them ranked number 2 in the state behind St. Joe's Prep. LaSalle College number 3. Real fast about this game, Keith. I've written about Central. Their offensive line is Jolly Green Giants, average 6'5 and a half, 284. They've got skill. They've got players and talent everywhere. LaSalle College, number 1 player in the state, according to On3.com. Joey O'Brien going to Notre Dame. He's a defensive back wide receiver going for defense, but I've been told he's a terrific receiver. They have an offensive lineman going to Notre Dame. They have a quarterback going to Missouri. Central is going to have their hands full in this game, but I think the big key to this game is Central's new quarterback, Owen Herrick. I've heard a lot of good things about him. Even he was at Seneca Valley, sat out last year, was ruled ineligible for transferring. And
yes.
I think he would be a big,
again, of course.
I think we'll have some jitters early on, but I think, and that's, LaSalle is a seasoned quarterback. Boy, I want to pick LaSalle, but with it being at the Wolverine, I'll go Central.
I'm going LaSalle. The thing about it is you get the WPIAL. I think it's an early season game. I think it's going to be a really good barometer for where Central Catholic and Ryan Lamar want to get this year. I think if you look at our prediction, if you look at our rankings this year, Central Catholic is the #1 team in Class 6A, and there's a very good chance that they could end up meeting LaSalle College in the state championship game if they can get past St. Joe's Prep. This might be a preview of the state final in
LaSalle beat St. Joe's Prep in the regular season last year and then lost in the Philadelphia Catholic League Championship.
Like I said, there's a distinct possibility these two teams, this could be the first of 2 games between these two teams. And I think there's going to be a lot of a feeling out process between them. And I also think that they're not going to want to show too much to each other just in case they do see each other down the line. They're going to want them both win. But I think this is a preseason game in almost in an NFL manner in that they're going to keep it very vanilla. They're not going to open things up that much because there is that chance they might meet in the first week of December. So, yeah, I'm going to say LaSalle College. Go with the Explorers this time, but that doesn't mean the Vikings aren't going to be in the second time around if they play.
All right, next game you will be at Friday night also. Incidentally, a Central game is at 8 o'clock on Friday at the Wolverine. You'll be at this game. Great matchup between 2 highly ranked teams. Imani Christian at Clairton. The opening of, well, it's the same old stadium, but it's been renovated, and now it's Tyler Boyd Stadium, right?
Imani
Christian Clairton. What say you? What say you? What
Neil
say
C.
you?
Brown Stadium is gone. Tyler Boyd Stadium is there, and it's going to be a.
How does Neil C. Brown feel about that?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't
think we can ask him. He's dead.
There
right?
might still be a bathroom there with his name on it but I think they might have even gotten rid of that because at this point in time, that entire half of the stadium is gone. The new bleachers are in, the new press box is in. The one thing that's still there that it's in the last half of the renovation is the old concrete stands on the far side, and underneath that is the Clairton locker room. And if anybody's ever been in that locker room, let me tell you, it needs renovated. It makes Hershey Park Stadium almost look good. And that's frightening. But Clairton's still going to be in there for at least another year or so until they get it renovated. This is going to be a fantastic game. It's going to be a great matchup between the #1 team in Class 1A, Clairton, who I think is going to win the Class A. I think they're going to win the state championship this year. I really do. And Imani Christian, which is still trying to establish itself as a program. I mean, they got 2 great players led by David Davis, who's a Penn State guy. He's an incredible running back. He's finally healthy. I think they're going to have their hands full though with that Clairton defense, which is just so good year after year. One of 2 things is going to happen in this game. Either Clairton's going to come out and play exactly like they did last year, which was pretty much run the table against everybody and just blow it out, or they're going to have a problem, and they're going to have the same problem they had 2 years ago when they opened back-to-back with Aliquippa and Westinghouse and did not fare well, but still ended up having a great year. This one, I think Clairton comes out. I think they're going to win. I just have this feeling that Clairton is really going to want to come out, establish itself, and it's going to be an incredible game for that team.
Key to the game, Clairton's defense. It was really good last year, and it should be stalwart defense again this year. But Imani Christian has some weapons that they haven't seen probably. But I'm going to go Clairton because of their defense. I'll take the Bears. All right, next game.
Gabe Jenkins from
yes, he'll play quarterback. He'll play receiver, running back, everything. Next game is also part of the KDKA Classic, Woodland Hills, North Allegheny. I think this is a 4:30 game at the Wolverine.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Okay. Well, I'll be there. So I'll be there early.
You're going to be there.
So Woodland Hills 5A won their conference last year, and we finally get to see again Scoop. Scoop is back. Scoop did he do? Scoop Smith from Woodland Hills Post-Gazette Athlete of the Year, missed their big play. North Allegheny, I think a lot of people might be sleeping on North Allegheny. I don't think they should. They're not as good as they were 2 years ago. And maybe, they lost a lot from last year, but their quarterback is now a year under his belt. Lincoln Hoke going to Pitt. I think they've got some other players that people may be overlooking a little bit. I think they're still going to be pretty good. Woodland Hills will need some gigantic plays from Scoop Smith. And their quarterback, I think, is a question mark because he had torn ACL at the end of last year. How is he going to be? Cam Walter. But I'm going North Allegheny in this one to beat Woodland Hills.
I agree with you on North Allegheny. I don't think this was going to be as close as you think, because you and I debated this the other day. I think North Allegheny really has something to prove after losing to Central Catholic the way it did in the championship game last year. That was an ugly game, and I don't think anybody saw that coming. Central Catholic blew out North Allegheny. And the Tigers are going to have a huge chip on their shoulder coming into the season. Art Walker's going to have this team ready to go, and they're going to want to have – this is a prove-it-to-me game for North Allegheny, and I think they're going to come out and they're at the Wolverine, and they're going to really put it to Woodland Hills. I could be wrong.
Oh, he's going to put the Woodland – oh, remember that Woodland Hills? Keith Barnes said that. You're going to get trounced. All right.
I've been wrong before.
Next game. No, never. I was mistaken once back in 2000. I thought I was wrong back in 2002, but I was mistaken. All right, here we go. Next game, Montour and Central Valley. At Central Valley, you go first.
Wow. Central Valley, they're just one of those teams that always seems to be there. And you know, I saw Mark Lyons yesterday when they scrimmaged Moon. They looked really good. They stayed with the Tigers a little bit. It was a good scrimmage for them. I think they got a lot out of it. And this is a team that they're going to surprise some people. I think they're going to be better than expected. But when you're playing in that Western Hills Conference, it is so hard. There are so many good teams, and they better be ready because they've got themselves, Beaver, Avonworth, and North Catholic. That is a fearsome foursome, and Central Valley is going to use this game to get ready. On the flip side, Lucero's got a great team and a great program at Montour, but by the same token, that team lost a lot from last year. It's very young, and they're going to try to establish themselves and come out and show what they have. I mean, this is a team that beat Aliquippa last year, but it's not the same team that beat Aliquippa last year in that deciding game. So I think I say Central Valley with the home field advantage.
Central Valley. All right, I'm going Montour. Here's why. I talked to Lucero earlier this summer. Aki's going to be their quarterback. They've had two good quarterbacks in a row, but they have a really good running back, and I can't pronounce his last name right.
That's what I'm saying.
Caden Halascio. But Lucero told me, how are you going to be this year? You're going to be really young, but if the young kids are as good as we think they are, we could be very good. They're going to be very good again. I'm going Montour. All right, next game here. Seton LaSalle at North Catholic. Now, I guess a big thing in this game is the status of Anthony Smith. Mm-hmm. You know, we would know a lot more if we knew I'd be able to pick a lot more if we knew the status of Anthony Smith. He's the transfer from Southmoreland. It's at Seton LaSalle quarterback. He was ruled ineligible at WPIAL, held up by the PIAA. He's taken the matter to court to try and get his eligibility restored. You will be there for the court hearing later in the week.
They will know. We will know Thursday.
Yeah, it's so hard.
There will be a bench. The judge has already said that he's going to issue a bench statement that day. So they're going to know that day if he's going to be able to play on Thursday. They're going to know if he can play on Friday.
Okay, I'm going to say
locked in. I'm
going to say two things real fast. Joey Felitsky, Riker Kennedy led the WPIAL in passing and receiving last year. First time since 2007. Two from the same team did that. They could become maybe the first ever to lead it 2 years in a row. They're really good. But North Catholic has a lot of other players. I think people are sleeping on them. I think they're pretty good. Seton LaSalle would be pretty good too. They keep on losing players. So I will say this. If Anthony Smith plays, I'll pick Seton LaSalle. If Anthony Smith doesn't play, North Catholic. There's my pick.
Either way, I take North Catholic, and this is why. You mentioned the quarterback and the receiver, and I think that's huge when you got Felitsky out there. But here's the thing. They lost Khalil Taylor, the key to their defensive backfield. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for them to really readjust.
Good point.
And then you lose, I think it was Trey ended up transferring too.
Trey Littlejohn
transferred to Penn Hills. So when you lose two guys like that who are in your defensive backfield, it's going to take you a little bit of time to get an adjustment and find replacement players for them. As good as Seton LaSalle is, I think that North Catholic's going to be able to exploit that. And when you've got a quarterback that threw for almost 3,000 yards last year in the regular season, yeah, he's going to be able to find some holes in your defense and exploit you. And that's why I think the Trojans are going to pull this one out either way.
Okay, last game in Pick Six. That's Keith Barnes. I'm Mike White of the Post-Gazette here, by the way, on Post-Gazette High School channel. And the last game, Pick Six, is also part of the KDKA Classic on Saturday afternoon. Westinghouse, City League champion 3 years in a row against Steel Valley. They're on Barksdale. That dog has a big bark for Steel Valley. And Westinghouse, they have a new quarterback, Zahir Ismaili, transferred from West Mifflin. I really like this is a good matchup, really good matchup. I'm going Westinghouse. I'm going
going
Westinghouse.
I'm going Steel Valley.
I don't know
why are
what
you
they
picking
have.
Westinghouse?
I don't know if they have a whole lot beside Barksdale, and I think early in the season they may struggle a little bit.
I don't know. Westinghouse lost a lot too. I mean, you lose.
But they've got a lot back.
They got a lot back. But you're talking about a 1A team against a 2A team. I think Steel Valley's kind of an prove it to me thing too. And remember, this is the first full season Deron Barksdale's going to play in 3 years, because he was injured part of the early part of last year, and he was injured at the tail end of his sophomore year. So this is going to be a full season for him. So it's going to be interesting to see how much he comes out and wants to prove to everybody that he deserves that signing at Pitt.
Well, I like the Bulldogs of Westinghouse. All right. Okay. All right. Next segment, really fast. Well, next part of this segment. We did this a few years ago. We're going to bring it back to Post-Gazette Fantasy League. Here's the way it works. Keith and I, now it will only be on points scored, because stats are too hard to get by the time we tape this podcast. So it will be on points scored by players. And each week we'll pick a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, and a kicker. And whoever has the most points that week from those 4 players, and Keith's 4 players, will be the winner. We'll keep track all year. And we put in this rule: once you pick a player, once somebody picks a player, neither of us can pick that player the rest of the year.
That's
so
right.
We got to know our stuff. Here we go. Are you ready?
So, I'm ready.
Hey,
I'll give you the first round. You can take a quarterback.
We want our players to
age before beauty. You get to take a quarterback.
They got to check this out. See if they're a fantasy pick. Okay, we're going to start out with quarterbacks. We'll start out with quarterbacks. Who's going first, me or you?
You're going first. Like I said, age before beauty.
You know what? I'll tell you who I'm going to take. I know you probably think to take Matt Sieg, but I'm going to wait on him. I am taking James Armstrong from Hopewell High School.
Ooh.
Quarterback last year as a freshman, had a big year, already has a couple offers. Great athlete, good basketball player also. Had good stats last year. They play Riverside. Armstrong, he's going to be Stretch Armstrong in this game, and he's going to go touchdowns everywhere. I'm going James Armstrong, Hopewell.
Well, I bet you thought that since you took Armstrong, I was going to take Matt Sieg, but I'm not taking him. I'm going the other way. I'm taking Samir Crosby from Greensburg Central Catholic. You got to look at what he's bringing to the table. He's one of the best dual threats that nobody talks about. And I think Greensburg Central Catholic is going to be a team to watch this year in Class 1A. Plus the fact they're going against a Shady Side Academy team that gave up 43.5 points a game last year. I think he's going to bust out. I think he's going to have a huge game, and I think he's just going to rack up the points.
Good pick. All right, you go next. We're going to running backs.
All right, going to running backs. How about Tyvon Kershaw from Menneson? Scored 34 touchdowns, I believe, last year, 33. Was one of the leading scorers in the WPIAL, was the leading scorer in Class 1A during the regular season last year, and they're opening against Charleroi. I think that's a good game for him. I think he's going to light it up. I'm
going a player from Fort Cherry. It's not Matt Sieg. I'm going Ryan, Huey. Ryan Huey. Oh, baby Huey, a running back who had a good year last year as a sophomore. I think he's going to have a really big year. They played Northgate, and the Flames aren't too hot, I don't think. So I'm going to go Ryan Huey for my running back. All right, on the receiver, I go first in this one.
You go first.
I'm taking the player who was the second leading receiver in WPIAL last year. I think he's been overlooked as far as top players heading into the season. Drew Cook, and he will be cooking because they play Ringgold, who loses a lot of games. I mean, Drew Cook will be cooking. He's my pick at receiver.
Darn, that was my pick.
See, I had two though.
See, undercut me on that one. So did I. So I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take Riker Kennedy from North Catholic. I know they're playing Seton LaSalle, but like I said, I think that defensive backfield is going to be a work in progress for at least the first half of the season. So I think with him and Joey Feliski, I think they're going to be able to exploit that a little bit, and I think that's going to be a good thing for him.
Okay, last before we sign off, we got to pick a kicker. Give us a kicker for PGFL. From Upper St. Clair.
Had a great year last year. I think Upper St. Clair can score.
Okay, good. Take him. They're playing Mount Lebanon. I saw Upper St. Clair scrimmage North Hills for a little bit the other day. Looked okay.
That's why they're going to need a kicker.
Didn't look great. Looked okay. Same with North Hills, but they play Mount Lebanon. I don't know if they're going to score a lot of points. Maybe he'll have to kick like 4 field goals. I am going, in the infamous words of that Beaver County legend, Donnie Iris, love is like a rock. Do. I'm going, love is like Rocco Mark Antonio of Hopewell High School down in Beaver County. Love is like Rocco. Love is like Rocco. He said
you're loving Hopewell this week.
Tied the WPIAL record for field goal last year with a 55-yarder, kicked 9 overall, and they are playing Riverside. So I think he's going to get some chances at extra points and maybe a field goal too.
I guess
Rocco.
Nice.
All right. That's our segment here for the PGFL and our Pick 6 segment. Don't forget, you want to stay tuned. We're going to have more here on the Post-Gazette High School Show and the Post-Gazette WPIAL channel, where we go a little bit of where are they now?
Yes.
Where are they now? So stay tuned for more. And remember, like us, subscribe to us. Got to subscribe. We'll be here all week. All right? Be good.
Bring the chicken. Hi, I'm Keith Barnes with the Post-Gazette on the PG High School Sports Show on the Post-Gazette YouTube channel, the WPIAL High School Show. So let's talk about our next segment. Where are they now? Mike, do you want to start this one off?
It's a short segment that we're going to do every week of just people, maybe an athlete still from around here, or a person or a coach that's involved with WPIAL City League football, and where are they now? People seem to like hearing about where some of the old timers or even most recent guys, what they're doing, when they might even tell you what they're doing at college. We're here to inform you, right? And educate you. So my guy and where are they now, Keith, is back in 2007, Jeannette won a state championship. Terrell Pryor was the quarterback, and their coach was Ray Reitz. Ray Reitz is back in coaching again. He left Jeannette after that year and went to become the head coach at Latrobe. And he's been an assistant at Norwin. And Ray is an assistant at Central Catholic his first season. He's in his 60s, mid-60s. And you know what? I bring Ray up because what a great year that was to deal with him. A character when with Terrell Pryor, and boy, he had a lot to deal with that year. But Ray is now at Central Catholic, first year as an assistant, where his son is the offensive coordinator, Ryan Rich. And Ray Rich, shout out to him, Keith.
Absolutely.
Here's why. Well, here's why. Coaching again, I asked him why. He said, because I love coaching. And you know what? These kids like to play. Keith, he beat leukemia. He came back. He beat cancer again, prostate cancer. And he just had a stroke about a month and a half or 2 ago.
Oh,
and he's coming back and coaching again. Ray Ritz, kudos to you, buddy, and good luck.
Good luck to Ray. I mean, he's always been one of my favorite people. He was great to talk to. I remember those days back when Terrell was playing for him, and you know, the headaches, the ups and downs, having to deal with all the college coaches that were around back then, and you know, basically almost being a glorified secretary at times, telling his coaches, yeah, you can talk to him or you can't talk to him, or it was just nuts for him back then. And he did such a great job with having such a high profile recruit at a small school like that. And I was there when they won the WPIAL and the state titles that year. That was amazing, the job that he did with them. He's a
silver-haired fox now.
I know. I remember.
I can't believe people would have silver hair. I can't believe it. Yeah.
I silver-haired beard. Dark hair, at least.
Silver-haired beard. All right. Who's your where are they now?
Mine is Jeannette Matsook, the former
all right.
The former coach at Rochester. I mean, he just walked away last year after 25 years at Rochester, won 4 WPIAL titles, won a couple of state titles, was 216-80 as the head coach.
Where is he now?
Like every other coach, he can't stay away. None of these guys can ever stay away. I mean, he's always like, yeah, I'm retired, but a minute later they're back. He's at Moon.
Oh.
He's an assistant coach at Moon. I talked to Ryan Lynn the other day. And
why, Gene? I ought to send you to the Moon. Go ahead.
Absolutely. But I talked to Ryan and I said, he was talking about this and that. And he says, and Coach Matsook. And I went, wait a minute, Jeannette Matsook? And he went, yes. And I went, wow. I said, he said he just wanted to come back. He was tired of retirement. He wanted to come back. He wanted to be an assistant, and the kids are taking to him. They're listening, and that's one of the reasons I think Moon might be a dark horse in Class 5A this year. I mean, you've got a guy who's won WPIAL and state titles, who's going to be able to help this team. And Ryan said straight up that he's been an invaluable influence in this team, in this locker room. So, kudos to Gene Matsook. He's in his early 60s now and just wanted to come back and coach a little bit.
All right. That's pretty neat stuff. Gene's another one of the good guys in football. And we don't have, guys don't stick around like they used to anymore. And he did. And good to hear.
Crazy thing about Gene, he beat 4 teams in the WPIAL final. 2 of them played in the final last year. It was Fort Cherry and Clairton. The other 2, Monaca and Duquesne, that don't even exist anymore.
He beat them in the championship.
In the championship games. Those are the 4 teams he beat in the championships. Crazy though. 2 of the teams don't even exist anymore. And 2 of them played in the final last year. I
forgot he beat Monaca. Well, Monaca closed in 2010. So
2009, 2010 when Central Valley was formed. Right.
Well, there you got it. There's our first show, all in the books here on the Post-Gazette high school show on the Post-Gazette WPIAL channel. Keith Barnes, I'm Mike White. We're going to come at you every week with this show.
Whether you like it or not.
So subscribe to us on YouTube. We're on Spotify. Listen in. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. It's going to become wildly popular. You watch. So for Keith, I'm Mike White. Everyone, be good.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.